This video is sponsored by our friends at Ritual. I've made Ritual vitamins part of my daily routine for the past several months, and I'm better off for it. I'm excited to share Ritual's new essential protein daily shakes that are designed to support the maintenance of lean muscle mass. This delicious shake contains all 9 essential amino acids, providing a complete amino acid profile, helping to build lean muscle mass. I've also found it satisfies my appetite. Ritual's Essential Protein Shake is packed with 20 grams of vegan pea protein and keeps you feeling full. There's no added sugar or sugar alcohols. It contains no major allergens or artificial sweeteners or colors. Plus, the delicious vanilla flavor is handcrafted using vanilla bean extract, sustainably harvested in Madagascar. Yes, Ritual supply chain is fully traceable. You know the importance of protein, right? Click the link in the description box below to get 10% off your first 3 months, or visit ritual.com/Chael10. Remember to use the promo code Chael10 for this special deal. Conor McGregor got in some kind of a jam, punched a DJ in a club, so the story goes. But it seems in line, right? You always want to say all the right stuff. Well, innocent until proven guilty, and let's let due process, I guess. Or a guy's accused of punching a DJ in front of a ton of witnesses. 3 weeks ago, I saw him do the same thing to some guy named Machine Gun Kelly. 3 years before that, he hit an old man in a bar in a pub in Ireland, right? I mean, at some point, it just starts to go in line where you can do the right thing and you can talk about, well, let's let this play out. And you can talk about due process and innocent until proven guilty. You can. You run the risk of looking like a fool that doesn't learn from your own mistakes. I mean, it seems to be one of those things. How many times does the dog get to bite you before you realize you should have put your hand down there? I don't really have as big of a problem with some kind of a street dust-up happening and a guy defending himself. I don't love the idea. It is not a fair fight. Right? If you have a trained killer and he's with some guy, that's the dude's resume is some guy, and on your resume it says trained killer. It would seem as though you've got to be a bit of a dick to throw a punch. I mean, in all fairness, if you had to get in a street fight with somebody, guys, choose me. You're not going to win, but you'll leave in one piece. I am skilled enough at it, I will not have to hit you. Hitting you involves trying to hurt and or damage you. I don't need to. I have other skills. I do not need to hit you a single time. I don't need to loosen your teeth. I don't need to break your jaw. In all fairness, and I'll tell you, I came up that way. You always want to have appropriate gear in training, right? You want to have the big gloves, you want to have the shin pads on and your knee pads and maybe some elbow. You always have a mouthpiece. If you had none of those things and it was your first day, you could go spar Randy Couture, you will be fine. Randy Couture was the sitting heavyweight champion of the world, but he had such an incredible control. He would maul you. He would do MMA. No, make no mistake. He is there to maul you. You wouldn't be hurt. If you never wore a mouthpiece, you wouldn't have a loose tooth anywhere. If you did not know how to defend yourself, he will not hurt you. He just had a control. And in all fairness, I have to look at it like this. I go, this is the third person he's thrown hands at. Hit the old man who wasn't moving. Missed Machine Gun Kelly by light years. I'll give him a break on that. He was on crutches. And then connected with a DJ like, timeout. Aside from that being weird, and aside from that being a very bad skill set. That's a very, very bad skill set if you have to hurt your nemesis who's untrained in the streets. I would never say Conor doesn't have the right to defend himself or anybody else, or just because he was a champion at this, he doesn't get the right to defend himself. Yes, he does. But I will have to question why you got to try to hurt the guy. You don't have other ways to diffuse this? You got to be kidding me. And moreover, I've never got around the fact that Conor was at the award show. Whatever happened with that little nerd Kelly, Megan Fox, and the DM, those are weird people, man. Whatever. You're one of these Hollywood socialites that's got to get together in a little elitist group, throw a party, get put on TV, bring a bunch of really rich and really famous people together to then give awards to the rich and famous people voted on by the other rich and famous people. The whole thing's weird. And the fact that Conor was there means he's not one of us. My buddies aren't there. I've been invited to those things more time than I could shake a stick at. You want to know how many I've gone to? None. Because I'm not a dork. I'm a man of the people. I'll go to one of those award shows they invite me to when you guys My people come to those award shows. That's when we'll go. Otherwise, we'll stick with our community and we'll go to the World MMA Awards once a year. I have a tremendous problem with that. And now I'm finding out that he's at a club. So you got a grown-ass man with kids at home at a club. That's a problem for me. You have a grown-ass man with kids at home on crutches at a club. That's a problem for me. You have a grown-ass man, kids at home bit, the crutches, the hobbling around, gets in a dust-up with a DJ and throws heat at the guy. And then the guy is on TMZ the next day, at least allegedly. My biggest problem with the whole part of the story is that this dude was talking to TMZ the next day. It's the only part that makes me think, well, maybe this didn't happen. I watched Conor McGregor hit Floyd Mayweather, and I saw the reaction. I watched Conor McGregor hit the greatest featherweight of all time named Jose Aldo. I saw what happened. I watched Conor McGregor hit one of the great fighters of all time in Eddie Alvarez. I saw what happened. Why isn't that happening to Machine Gun Kelly, the old man, and this DJ? Come all of a sudden, these guys can take Conor's punch. I mean, right, the whole thing really does stem other questions. So, okay, let's make a case for Conor. I've been a Conor defender for 5 years now. Why am I going to stop now? Let's make our case for him. Conor did not want to be at the club. He didn't want to be away from the wife. He didn't want to be away from the kids. This is a paid gig. They brought him in. They gave him some money to be there. He broke bad. Drinking a little of that Irish 12, he broke bad. DJ got a little mouthy. Conor wanted new kids on the block to play. He keeps on blaring out Metallica, something along these lines. Conor's got to throw hands up. Well, now you're being more of a jerk. If you're a paid member of the club, the same as the DJ, that means you guys are teammates. That means you work together in line with the security and the bouncers and the guy that works at the door and the cocktail folks and the whole bit. So now you're being a bad teammate. You're being a bad teammate because you got a check to come here. You're on the clock but decided to get drunk. Not great. Or you're a nerd. You're a nerd that came hobbling into the club with a cast on his foot. It's just, these aren't my kind of people, man. This is weird. The DJ's got every right to take action. And the DJ said that. He said, I did not deserve to be hit, and I got hit, so I'm suing him. He makes a perfectly good case. This got tested in the world of boxing. Mike Tyson walked outside one time ever, and it was another pro fighter. The guy called him out. The guy was a pro, a top 10 ranked pro. Guy knew how to take care of himself, wanted to get in a street fight with Tyson. Tyson walked outside, hit the guy one time, and destroyed him. Anything that you've seen Tyson do with a glove on, exemplify that by 5. Now, the dude was solid. The dude refused to sue because he told the truth. I called him out. I would have done it to him. He got to me first, fair and square. Tyson shattered his hand. To qualify as a shatter in medical terms, it must be broken in 3 or more places. So one punch from Tyson without a wrapped and gloved hand shattered his hand, but also shattered this guy's face. My only point being, and that guy was also a top 10 ranked pro, and that's what happened with no gloves on in a dust-up in the streets. Not making light of anything. I'm not making light of anything at all. I cannot help but to hear these stories of the old man in the pub, and yet you guys know that's how he was identified. We never got his name. The media referred to him as the old man in the club. Some guy with Machine Gun Kelly, a dork, and now a DJ. But there's no shattered hands. There's no anybody going to the hospital. There's no ending of a debate. There's no silencing of the crowd. Why not? Why did Mike Tyson end it with one punch, and the guy Conor hit is doing an interview with TMZ an hour later?